everyone. I wanted to say welcome to our November 26th meeting. I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and that the holiday season continues to be a good one for all of our residents in our city. So tonight is our City Council meeting. November the 26th, we will cover a number of different issues, but before we start, we always begin our meeting with an invocation or an expression of inspiration, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation is given by Mr. Eggleston tonight, and we want you to know that we celebrate religious diversity in our community, including those without a religious faith. You're welcome to follow the lead of Mr. Eggleston as he begins our meeting. Following Mr. Eggleston's comments or inspiration, we will ask everyone to stand for the pledge. But we would like to ask, before we begin, our Mr. Eggleston, if you don't mind, we will be having Boy Scout Troop 80 from the Pleasant Hill Presbyterian Church with the leader, Andy Maxwell, coming down to help us begin with our Pledge of Allegiance. So as soon as Mr. Eggleston is done, if you would come and circle, and then our flag is here, we're really glad to have you and welcome. Mr. Eggleston.
It's intimidating to give the invocation in the presence of such a distinguished reverend as Ray McKinnon, but I will try to do my best.
Oh, you're going to have to work really hard on that one. I've heard him preach.
I'd like to read some selected portions of the remarks by President Barack Obama from the National Prayer Breakfast in February of 2016. I think they are as poignant today as they were in February of 2016. As a student of history, I often remind people that the challenges that we face are not unique, that in fact, the threats of previous eras, Civil War or World War or Cold War, depressions or famines, those challenges put our own in perspective. Moreover, I believe that our unique strengths as a nation make us better equipped than others to harness this change to work for us rather than against us. And yet the sheer rapidity of change and the uncertainty that it brings is real. The hardship of a family trying to make ends meet. Refugees fleeing from a war-torn home, those things are real. Terrorism, eroding shorelines, those things are real. Even the very progress that humanity has made, the affluence, the stability that so many of us enjoy, far greater prosperity than any previous generation of humanity has experienced, shines a brighter light on those who will still struggle, reveal the gap in prospects that exist for children of the world. And that gap between want and plenty gives us vertigo. It can make us afraid, not only of the possibility that progress will stall, but that maybe we have more to lose. And fear does funny things. Fear can lead us to try to get some sinister other under control. Alternatively, fear can lead us to succumb to despair or paralysis or cynicism. Fear can feed our most selfish impulses and erode the bonds of community. It is a primal emotion, fear, one that we all experience, and it can be contagious, spreading through societies and through nations. And if we let it consume us, the consequences of that fear can be worse than any outward threat. I pray that our leaders will always act with humility and generosity. I pray that my failings are forgiven. I pray that we will uphold our obligation to be good stewards of God's creation, this beautiful planet. I pray that we will see every single child as our own, each worthy of our love and our compassion. And I pray we answer Scripture's call to lift up the vulnerable and stand up for justice and ensure that every human being lives in dignity.
Thank you. I also would now like to invite Boy Scout Troop 80, but I failed to recognize Boy Scout Troop 249 from Steel Creek Athletic Association. We've been down to your place with Miss Mayfield a few times. And you are earning your Communication Merit Badge. Again, I think, is this the same troop leader? You guys got it going on. 2 troops of boys. Woo. So great. Please have the Scouts join us at the dais. We would all stand. All right, we'll follow your lead.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
guys.
So now we'll go to our public forum, which is, we have a forum twice a month, and we have 10 speakers sign up, and each speaker has 3 minutes. And tonight we'll start off with our first person, Dawad Abdullah. Mr. Abdullah. Thank you. Right up here behind that, the second microphone, if you'll walk up there. There we are.
Hi.
Thank you for being here this evening.
All right. My name is Dawad Abdullah. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I moved here in 2010. I retired in 2008. Wanted to come to a city to enjoy the city life, and our family chose Charlotte. All right. I stay uptown. I've been in Charlotte for going on about 8 years. There are some issues that came to attention, and it's about water main breaks. We're starting to see a lot of them. When I take my daughter to school, she goes to Alexander Grant. Woodlawn and Park Road, you had a new Shake Shack put in, a couple of bars. Water main break was there for about 6 months. Yeah. I have pictures I wanted to share with you guys, so I wanted to pass this out to the city council, if they would like to see them.
After you finish making your remarks, if you'll hand them to the clerk, she will make sure we get them.
Okay. And the thing I have been observing, I'm retired, so I take my son to school sometimes, and we're seeing new power poles put in. And when they're putting in, they're replacing the old power poles. And what they're doing is setting it in the middle of the sidewalk. If you take a ride from East Boulevard down, we'll say, Remont Road, I guarantee you will see 10 power poles in 2 blocks. That's ridiculous. And then you will end up with power poles like that. You will have a chain effect that we had previous, where you see one go down, next thing you know, it's a domino effect. You have a lot of issues here. And it was just a few I see just by riding around. You know, I'm a coach. I get up in the morning, take my kids to school, see a lot of things. And these are things I thought I need to bring to your attention, because power poles in the middle of a sidewalk, it's a no-no. You got buckling sidewalks on South Boulevard. And when I say buckle, I mean completely buckle. There are pictures here. My wife said, "You still going to go down there and talk?" I said, "Yes, because I need to bring that to the attention. Because now it's not just an issue, it's a safety issue. And when you become the safety issue and you got handicapped and you got disabled people, even normal people that run up and down Moorhead, you know, it's just like a mountain. You got people traveling there to get to hospitals, and you got oversized trees taking over."
Thank you for your time. If you will bring those down, and we certainly are aware of our infrastructure issues and appreciate your commitment to point those out to us. And I'm sure that we will have the city manager do some follow-up, and we'll try to communicate to you. I have a lot of empathy, because we have a group of citizens who have different abilities, and we need to make sure that they can move around our community as well. So thank you. Our next speaker is Essie Boney, who is with our Charlotte-Mecklenburg Youth Council. And your partners in this.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Essie Bonnie. I'm a junior at Hawthorne Academy and a vice president of the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Youth Council. CMYC is the Youth Advisory Council for the City of Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, and Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools. It is a partnership between youth, local governments, schools, and Generation Nation. This semester, Charlotte's youth has been incredibly active locally at the state and national levels. A top issue for us is school safety. We spoke to news media and were invited to speak to the North Carolina House Select Committee on School Safety. After the Butler shooting, we collected questions and feedback from students and hosted a dialogue between youth and officials. Thank you, Councilmember Mayfield, for meeting with us on this issue. School safety is not just a school issue, it's a community safety too. Others at the meeting were the superintendent and most of his cabinet, school board member Elise Dashew, members of the CRC and CMPD, and news media were pleased with the first steps CMS is taking and look forward to continuing to be involved with the first steps. We have asked MIAP to meet with us for feedback regarding this year's Mayor's Youth Employment Program. One of our other recent projects is working with CMS to create a student representative role for the school board. During elections 2018, thousands of students elected CMYC member Kendall Sanders to this role. She attends Northwest School of the Arts in Lewiston City Council District 3. Next month, we are partnering with CMPD to collect and deliver toys to kids for our yearly toy drive. We're participating in the city survey, creating a podcast, planning student town halls, and will host the North Carolina State Youth Conference. 2 weeks ago, Emma Catherine, Righteous, Jalen, and I represented the Charlotte youth at the National League of Cities Conference in Los Angeles. As leaders on the NLC Youth Delegate Planning Committee, we led conference sessions about social capital, youth voice, and how youth and officials can work together. 5 cities have asked us to help with planning their youth councils and using best practices from the program we have built here. Jalen was on the NLC Youth Education and Family Council. I'm applying to serve on the YEF next year. The conference was a great experience and it was fun seeing LA. I want to thank the city, Generation Nation, for providing the experience, and especially thank Council members Winston, Mayfield, Eggleston, and Bakari for participating in one of the sessions I organized. Thank you also to Ms. Kim Oliver for helping to recruit a speaker for another session that I led. We appreciate the city's support for the Youth Council partnership and for us as young civic leaders. All high school age youth are invited to join CMYC. Go to the city's youth programs page to learn more about us and apply. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate what you do in our community and your presence, bringing it on for the young people. Our next speaker is Charles Moore. Is Mr. Moore here? Mr. Moore? Oh, we don't, no forgiveness needed. That is not necessary.
Handicap friendly. But I'm here. I'm retired from the city.
May need it a little, speaking into the mic a little bit more.
Got to get up close
There we
and
go.
personal. All right. I'm retired from the city. Hold on there.
A little bit of duck and weave.
Yes, indeed. I'm retired from the city. I'm handicapped. And I'm here because I'm a client of CATS's STS handicapped bus service. And I feel that myself and other members of the handicapped community are being discriminated against by CATS's management. The problem we have is that we address and talk to the management about problems, and nothing seems to happen. 6 months ago, I wrote a letter of complaint to CATS management and also to our illustrious mayor. And she responded, as did CATS, with things that were going to be changed. But 6 months later, nothing has come to fruition. It's almost as if to all the other things that CATS has to do, the handicapped community is invisible. The drivers who work 3 times harder than a regular CATS bus driver to serve our needs make as much as $5 less an hour. That's a travesty, folks. These people work 3 times harder and make less money. And to us, they are our lifeline. I don't drive anymore. I can't go to the doctor, the grocery store, or anywhere else unless STS comes and picks me up. They are our community's lifeline. Now, the problems at STS kind of remind me of a saying my father told me one time. He said, "Son, the foxes are running the hen house, and yes, there are chickens missing." So I need to see if there's a way for CATS and STS to form an ad hoc committee made up of handicapped clients and the drivers. The drivers are the first line of public service to the community. A lot of what goes on that a driver sees and says and does shows the positive nature of STS. But these folks make less money and need to have that remedied if at all possible. Now, I know we're starting a new budget year, but the bottom line is the differences in the buses. I was on one of the new buses, slipped and fell and was injured because of the poor design of the ramp you now have to climb up on to get in the bus as opposed to the lift that's on the old buses. But I don't feel like suing people. I'd rather come here and ask you to make changes. The bottom line for me is simply, if we are going to be a service that shines as a jewel in the crown of this city, we need some help. That's the very bottom line, and I'd appreciate anything you as this body and our city manager could work with in order to possibly make some changes. Now, if you have any doubts about the things I say about the problems with the buses, I invite all of you to come down to 901 North Davidson Street where they park all the buses, and I'll get them to put two side by side and show you the differences between the old bus and the new bus. And heck, with y'all's influence, you all might actually be able to wrangle a ride on one of the buses.
Thank you. I think we can probably do that.
And
We
I would
certainly
love to go
can.
with you and let a driver demonstrate how much he has to work in order to serve the needs of not only me, but also the rest of the handicapped
Thank you
community.
very much, Mr. Moore. I believe that is something that we can do.
That's
And
good.
I appreciate you bringing this to our attention. I think I heard you say that the bus drivers make $5 an hour.
Less.
Less than $5 in an hour. Well, all of, than the CATS drivers.
The
Okay.
regular bus driver.
Right. So I understand that. So we will get back with you, and I think you brought us some good ideas. Thank you so much for coming this evening.
Appreciate it. And if you take
Thank
me
you.
up on the, coming down to the bus
We-
lot, I know you'd all love to go on a
We-
field trip.
Thank you, we will. Okay, thank you. All right, Mr. John Scott Yandel. Mr. Yandel? Miss Jimmy Berry? Jimmy Berry? Okay. Emperor Omari Jabri? Good to see you again.
You see, to greetings to the new council and board members. You have Braxton. You have, how you pronounce the name? Ashmarie?
Ajmira?
Mira. I'm Omari Jabri. I'm here on behalf of the International Indigenous Trust. I want to salute y'all and give y'all a warm greeting in Ashe Islam. We here to reaffirm the City of Charlotte proclamation that was made in 2012 by Mayor Anthony Fox about the proclamation of Aboriginal Indigenous people. My nationality is Moorish American. I had took the Obama's My Brother's Keeper program. I don't know if y'all familiar with that, but in 2015, I had took the pledge of being the head tribal leader of the My Brother's Keeper program to encourage city mayors, council members, executive in the private and public sector to come up with comprehensive remedies to have an economic stimulus growth in urban communities, and also give educational seminar to public enforcers like police, sheriffs, and those people that's working in those areas of knowing how to approach indigenous people on their lands and in their community. I also have all of my documents filed in the federal court in the Western District of North Carolina, file 311 CR 320. We have a lot of listed agendas that we wanted to collaborate with the City of Charlotte about having a tribal to government relationship. I do a lot of traveling. I'm from North Carolina. This is the imperial city of Queen City, Charlotte. But right now I'm traveling, going through different states, letting different mayors and governors know about indigenous people's rights. By me reflecting all of this information in the federal record, it incorporate all 50 states to cooperate with certain definitions and sections that's in the Indian Bureau of Affairs. Right now, I'm really just leaving the floor open for just having a communication between you and me and my delegates to be able to start coming together with some type of comprehensive remedies to have economic booms in our community. I have another important agenda that a lot of the veterans that I'm supporting here, and I'll be meeting with them while I'm here in Charlotte for the next couple of days. They have a real concern about their medicine. We noticed that it's not any type of judicial or holistical ramifications or legislations on the use of CBD oils and hemp manufacturing companies, and we want to be able to support our veterans by coming up with some comprehensive remedies to have some type of medical or holistical or spiritual medicine provided to our veterans. And I have certain citizens' approval, and
Emperor Jabbar,
the 3 minutes go by fast.
we will hear more from you. Please feel free to give any other comments
yes.
that you have with the city clerk.
Can I
And
pass
thank you
out
for
any type
coming
of
down.
proclamations that I have right here?
Yes, you may do that as well. Thank you very much. Ashley Skidmore, is Ms. Skidmore here, or Mr. Skidmore? Okay. Lloyd Shear, former county commissioner and a frequent visitor to our podium. Thank you.
Thank you. Hold on, let me get myself situated. Okay. First, let me express my deep appreciation for your service to this community, and I hope you thank your families on my behalf. Recent discussions about the length of terms for city council and mayor were discussed, but it's time to bring the city and county up to standards that reflect the growing population of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. There are over 1 million people, parts of Charlotte. That means 11 city council members serve for each district, 110,000 citizens. It is a large number, even larger than what the county commissions serve. The mayor and I discussed these issues several months ago, and we talked about a committee of former elected officials to study election terms for council, mayor, and past elected officials who would understand what it takes that every 2 years you've got to raise money and run for office. The past elected officials will be a big help in that regard. We also mentioned changing committees, appointment. A new mayor does not get to make an appointment because the previous mayor may have done so for 3 years. It is unfair to the newly elected mayors that they can't do it. If city council decides to go it alone without a complete study with hearings and citizens, then I will lead the charge to bring a referendum and will campaign against any decision. The council has an opportunity. We have not researched our salaries. We have not researched our numbers. We have not researched what it will take to get it done. A committee can report back at April or May, more than enough time. But if you go with just saying we want 4 years, are we talking staggered? Are we talking 4 years for the mayor, 2 years for the mayor? So I look to this committee. I would like to serve as chairperson of this committee of 9 people, 3 looking at committees, 3 looking at salaries, and 3 looking at the election situation. I ask this council to please consider that rather than go the other route. I think you'll find the public will be behind you 100%. I can tell you, as a former county commissioner, when we tried to do 4 years twice in the 90s, we were blown out, but we had no support because there was no previous study. I ask for y'all to do that. Madam Mayor, that meeting was wonderful, and I think that it led to a lot of good things. And so I ask the council consider that. And again, I would love to serve on that committee. You've got Darrell Williams, you've got others, Tom Cox and other people that would serve and provide good quality report that gives you what you need to know about the council districts and about salaries.
Thank you
Thank
very
you, Madam
much,
Mayor.
Mr.
Thank you,
Scheer.
council
Thank
members.
you.
And I have
Preparation
given a
does make a
copy of this
difference.
to the-
Thank you. Our next speaker is Martin Zimmerman. He wants to speak on our CAP plan, I think the name is being called. Yes. So,
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of the City Council and City Manager Marcus. I'm glad to be here again before you to speak tonight to the 2050 Strategic Energy Action Plan, which you will be voting on December 10th. I'm here mainly to represent a consortium of different groups, including 350 Charlotte, Bike Walk North Carolina, Citizens Climate Lobby, the Charlotte chapter of the NAACP, Clean Air Carolina, Green Faith, Justice Action Mobilization Network, North Carolina Climate Solutions, of which the organization which former Mayor Jennifer Roberts, who's sitting behind me, is a vice chair, North Carolina Creation Care Network, Sierra Club, Soul Nation, Sustain Charlotte, Roots in the Community, and Market Foundation. All of these groups have signed on to a letter during the comment period of considerable length, which will be in your hands this evening. And I'd like to read portions of that letter in support of the Strategic Energy Action Plan. Leading environmental and faith organizations in our community commend the City of Charlotte and the City Council's Environmental Committee for their efforts to pass the CAP plan. We urge support for the plan as a vital first step, and I emphasize first step, in moving towards a sustainable future, especially in light of recent reports and disasters that we are all very well aware of. Swift and urgent action is needed to combat climate change. These include, most recently, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate report and the NOAA report and other reports. The IPCC report, one of many, stresses critical action in an accelerated time frame. We urge the city to act even faster and take steps outlined even sooner. We see this as a living document. We are aware that the intention is to review it every 2 years and modify it as necessary. We are in a dynamic, changing environment, and there really is no choice than to do that. This living document will require consistent work by the city, nonprofit partners and advocates, and by the business community, along with strong support of residents. By working together towards the goals of sustainable and resilient Charlotte by 2050, we can become a low-carbon city that everyone will be, everyone here and otherwise will be proud of. And I'd like to add a couple of quick comments, and if I run out of time, that's fine.
Your 3 minutes are up.
Okay.
And you beat me to the punch recognizing Jennifer Roberts, our former mayor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker. And we do have the Sustainable and Resilient Charlotte Plan on the strategy session agenda for the council to have a full briefing by the Environmental Committee next week. The next speaker we have is Transit Solutions, Terry Lansdale. I'm sorry.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time tonight.
Like the pin. I think
thanks
we
very
have
much.
several of those around.
If you don't have one, see me, I can get you one.
That's right.
We've got a pedestrian pin as well. You know, you're 7 times more likely to die crossing the street as a pedestrian than you are on a wheeled vehicle in this community. Appreciate all the work that you're doing as well in your transportation committee, and I enjoyed the vibrant meeting today as online on Facebook Live. So I want to thank you and for this opportunity to extend my voice on the environmental and transportation future for the city of Charlotte. I serve you on the Transit Service Advisory Commission. I also serve Mecklenburg County in the Air Quality Commission. As Executive Director of Bike Walk North Carolina, this is a sincere effort in my personal life and professional life to support the CAP, to support transportation solutions in and around the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, as well as the state. The line I want to leave you with tonight, if I get nothing else out, is that as you consider voting on the CAP in the coming weeks and months, is that we should not be retrofitting for our city for the equipment we want. We should be buying equipment for the city we want. So as we consider this novel idea, we want to understand how we transition our city fleet not to gas, and I don't want to use natural gas here, but gas, but petroleum fuels, fossil fuels. I hope that you'll not allow any transition to those fossil fuels for the transit system and the city vehicles. It's really a challenge as a great supporter of the Charlotte area transit system for John Lewis and incredible staff at CATS for how they envision our community moving forward. And I want to stand in no way in opposition to Charlotte area transit system for their plans moving forward. Rubber-tired buses are an opportunity, rubber-tired vehicles an opportunity moving forward. We just don't want to see them powered by petroleum products. With each investment, I will say to you as an advisement here, with each investment in charging and procurement for these types of upfront costs, you may believe that they are higher at the upfront. But as you learned in the Environment Committee meeting last week, $6 million per year is being spent for fuel alone for the Charlotte area transit system. And by some estimates, especially coming from Greensboro, $25,000 a year is an amortized estimated annual net savings for those transitions to electric buses. As you know, we keep our buses for up 12 years, so that's $300,000 in fuel savings alone, just for each electric bus. Charlotte area transit system is not the bullseye here, but it's our community. And I want to support you in your tough conversations coming up in the next few weeks. I want you to know you have community support, organizational support here in Charlotte and across the state. And Charlotte, as it comes out of this vote, will be a leader moving forward that the nation will be proud of. So thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lansdowne. Beth Henry. Beth Henry. Okay. So do we have any other people on the, I know I'm going to get to her, but do we have any other people on our waiting list? So I'd like to ask Ms. Angie Ford to come down. She is our last speaker signed up, but we have something that we'd like to read before she speaks tonight. And I've asked Mayor Pro Tem to read a proclamation, and Ms. Ford will have 3 minutes to speak, as this was her topic. Please go on up to the podium. Good to see you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So this proclamation is on behalf of the City of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, whereas the month of November welcomes in a time of Thanksgiving and a season for sharing our resources and our freedoms to worship, work, and live as independently as possible. And whereas some members of our community do not have employment or a place to live for a variety of reasons, both simple and complex. And whereas there are efforts to bring these homeless children and adults out of the shadows of our abundance, to address the diverse needs among them, as well as to provide guidance on how to correct conditions that have led to the poverty and homelessness. And whereas our current economic challenges call for greater awareness and guidance to address needs among all of our neighbors, and whereas the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Homelessness Service Network, its member organizations, and its public partners in the city of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County desire to dispel myths and overcome stereotypes of homelessness, and to provide opportunities for all of our citizens to learn about the plight, the hopes, and the achievements of homeless neighbors of our community, and to welcome them. Now, therefore, I, Alexander Lyles, Mayor of Charlotte, and Ella B. Scarborough, Chairman of the Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of November 2018 as Homelessness Awareness Month in Charlotte and Mecklenburg County, and urge all of our citizens to honor this observance.
And I'd like to ask Ms. Ford to reflect on this. I think you've been at this as long as most people in this community, so thank you for what you do.
Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Angie Ford. I'm an advocate for affordable housing and a member of the Homeless Services Network, HSN. As the mayor mentioned, I come before you tonight, as I do regularly around this time every year, to remind you that homelessness remains an issue that we as a community must continue to work together to resolve. I'm grateful to all of you, especially Councilmember Mayfield and her colleagues on the HAND Committee, for your support and partnership in efforts to end homelessness in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. Unfortunately, however, the number of people living in places not meant for human habitation continues to increase, and our shelters continue to be full and overflowing. Of the more than 30 neighbors who died this year from the community of people who are homeless, all but 6 were still waiting to be housed at the time of their death. I would like to honor them by reading their names. Alfred Smith, Carrie Clyburn, who was a Vietnam veteran, Charles Eli, Charles Dowdy, Charles Riley, Cherry Kearney, Chris Kraft, David Wayne Green, Harold Rosar, James Simuel, James White, Joe Sorrells, John Crane, John LaRue, John Stevens, Julian Hassenzahl, Linda Collins, Marvin Edwards, Michael Lucky Helms, Ormond Cruz, Randy Partlow, Richard Brown, also a veteran, Robert Hutchinson, another veteran, Ronald Hinckley, Sarah Brown, Toriano Joyce, Troy Clark, William Watts, better known as Cowboy. He had a housing voucher that he could not fill when he died. Terry Caesar, Angela Ziegler, Barbara Bailey. The community is remembering these individuals at a vigil service on Thursday at 6:30 at the Homeless Resource Center on College Street. I hope that many of you will be able to join us in paying tribute to these lives. We at HSN promise that we will continue to work with you to identify and change the policies that have been preventing us from achieving our goal of ending homelessness in our city. I would like to be able to change the proclamation in future from awareness, I think you're all aware by now, to accelerated exit from homelessness. Thank you for your attention and continued support.
Thank you for putting names to faces that we often hear. Thank you. Thank you so much. So we have one more recognition and proclamation to do. We're at the end of our public forum, and I'm going to read one more proclamation, and then we'll go to our consent agenda items. So this proclamation is actually a celebration of all of us, a celebration for our ancestors and the history in this community. So as a proclamation for the city of Charlotte, whereas in 1750 a group of settlers arrived in the area of North Carolina between the Yadkin and the Catawba rivers on November the 7th in 1768, the General Assembly was called into session, and on November 12th, 1768, Thomas Polk presented a bill to the Colonial Assembly as an act for establishing a town in Mecklenburg County. The Assembly voted to approve the bill, and on December the 3rd, 1768, presented it to Governor Tryon, who signed the bill into law. The town of Charlotte was thus established and named for Queen Charlotte Sophia, wife of King George III. And there are 360 acres of land purchased by John Frohock, Abraham Alexander, and Thomas Polk as commissioners to erect a courthouse, prison, and stocks at the intersection of Trade and Tryon. In honor of Charlotte's 250th anniversary, we will recognize our history, commemorate our spirit of independence, and celebrate our future and continued growth. Charlotteans will come together as one to shape our city's future. And CLT 250 is the city's year-long celebration a community-led effort whereas everyone is invited to participate and contribute to building a legacy for the next 250 years. And so we recognize December 3rd as the 250th anniversary of the City of Charlotte, marked by the year-long celebration of CLT 250. Now, I know there's a lot of history that is written, but there's also a lot of history that's not ever recorded. And I hope that we will not just celebrate all of those words that I said today that are proclamations by people that perhaps had the ability to read or had a certain language ability or the ability to have a home or land. There's lots in our history to celebrate. Sometimes some of us don't think it's always good, but that's what makes us who we are today, a diverse and welcoming community. So this day, on December the 3rd, as we begin our celebration, that I hope that every citizen will learn a little bit more about our city's history, all of it, that makes it possible for us to celebrate and sit at this dais today. I'm not sure who I'm supposed to give this proclamation to, so I'm just going to pass it over to someone over this way and say thank you for all of the hard work that's going to be put into it. And I look forward to all of our celebrations, every event that we have to commemorate.
Pass it on.
I hear we're having a cake day.
A what?
A cake day. I mean, I know, Mr. Eggleston always wants to know where the cake day is, so I'm sure we'll be hearing more of that. And we ask our citizens to follow us on our website to look at the opportunities to participate and serve as we celebrate our history. So with that, that's the end of our awards and recognitions.
Can I ask one thing?
Yes, sir.
Can I ask something of the manager to look into the subject of the water main breaks and what Mr. Abdullah was talking about? Because if I'm under the recollection that we passed the sidewalk ordinance early in this year that was supposed to take care of some of those problems that he spoke about telephone poles and trees that are in the middle of sidewalks. And I know that there were some projects that were probably, approved and going on ahead. But I just want to get some clarification as to where we are on that implementation process.
We'll look at that for you.
Thank you.
Mr. Winston reminds me, the manager follows up and the staff follows up on these. I don't know if we get a quarterly report or get any of the feedback, because as you come down, as you notice, we listen and we ask the staff to follow up with individuals or groups on any ask or request, and I'm not sure how we learn the results of them. So, Mr. Jones, could you let us know how that works?
Yes, a lot of the responses are in the council memo, the manager council memo.
Someone mentioned that to me today, and I just wanted to remind myself to read it.
I knew that was coming.
Ditto.
I did not. Honestly, I asked someone about it today, and they said that information, thank you, Tiffany, for reminding me, is in the council manager memo. And I thought to myself, I need to read it. So I just want to remind all of us.
Yes. It was a cutting edge communication mechanism in 1990, so.
I'm not so sure what edge it cut, though. So, thank you, Mr. Jones. If we could get a reminder every now and again of that, I think we would appreciate that. Thank you very much. We're now going to move to the portion of our business agenda that we call our consent agenda, and these are items that the council has previously reviewed, developed. They're often implementation of a policy or a project that's been adopted in our budget, and we have items that we vote on as a group in one motion because we've gone through that process of review. We do have a few to note. The staff has removed item 57, 87 has been settled, and 92 has been deferred to December the 10th. We are going to have one comment, and we will have a separate vote on number 64. And I'll read what that is for the audience. But right now, may I have a motion to adopt items 31 through 99, with the exception of those that are noted, 57, 64, 87, and 92.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We have a comment on item 31. I'm not sure who asked.
Winston.
Mr. Winston. This is the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Foundation donation, authorizing the manager to accept a donation from the foundation in the amount of $255,000 for various police department initiatives, which includes a smartphone application to allow residents to stay in better contact with the police department and allows the police department to more effectively inform and engage, communicate with residents, vehicle barriers to ensure pedestrian and officer safety, and continuation of Command College, a formal leadership program for the command staff. Mr. Winston?
I just had a question about the smartphone application. It says it's to allow residents to stay in better contact. Are residents having trouble staying in contact with police? And I just don't.
Mr. Winston, Councilmember Winston, that's just another tool to employ to be more real-time live, but this specific action, if you approve it tonight, is just to accept the money. You'd have another action come forward to actually develop that tool and more information on that tool. Currently, it's scheduled for your next business meeting.
I'm just wondering where the demand is. Like, where's the demand for this?
I think I see Deputy.
Yeah, Deputy Chief Jennings is available to provide more details on
Talk about
that.
the rationale of the need.
Yes.
The need. What made this a request that you wanted to
Madam Mayor,
accomplish?
members of council, thank you. I'm here on behalf of Deputy Chief Jeff Estes, who is the project manager for this. However, it is basically an evolution of communication with the public. It's a new tool that allows the public to have greater access to the police, as well as filing police reports, social media connections, and various things that allow them to have a closer connection with us. So basically, it's just another tool. When you ask about demand, the demand is basically through the evolution of what's going on with the use of cell phones nowadays and communication with the public.
So you might be allowed to file a police report from this application?
Yes, the application allows. There's some agencies that are currently using police apps on their phones. This is a step for us to do the same thing, and there are a lot of different variety of things that you can do from that app, including providing tips, crime tips, and things like that.
Thank you.
All right, Ms. Mayfield and then Mr. Bakari.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So on the same note, just a little more clarification. So if we were to move forward with this, approving this proposal tonight, this will be an app that we would then market for the community to download to their smartphones?
That's correct. And just clarification, we're not actually, this will be in front of council on the 10th. This is an acceptance of the donation or the grant from the Police Foundation. So,
Correct. Thank you
yes.
for the clarification of
Yes.
receiving, but it will be for an app that can be downloaded. So it's different than Nextdoor.
Exactly. It's an application on your phone similar to any other app that you can go and have direct access to a business or something like that.
So opposed, we're saying adding this in addition to those, if they call 911, they will also, if you have the ability, you'll also have access to an app if you need assistance or if you want to report a crime.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Bakari.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, wonderful that the foundation is doing this, obviously. And I'm glad that we're not having to vote on the final product, like you've said today, but just accepting the money. And I would raise my hand as someone interested between now and that next meeting to get a little deeper engaged, because those of us that were in LA saw a couple startup companies that also have new technologies that were of interest that we wanted to kind of tee up. And then we've been talking about apps and digital connection across other angles of government. So I just want to make sure that we maximize the capability that we're going to roll out in this division with other things that we've been looking at. So we'd love an offline opportunity before the next vote to talk through that, and I'll
Absolutely.
be supporting.
I'll pass that along.
I'm sure Deputy Chief Jennings will make sure that Deputy Chief Estes knows that. So, with that, we have a motion to approve the consent items. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we have a separate vote requested of agenda item number 64, the the Airport North End Around Taxiway Project. It is a contract in the amount of $27 million for design services of runway 18C, 36C, end around taxiway project, and to authorize the manager to amend the contract for purposes consistent with its intent. We asked, Councilmember Mayfield asked that this be voted on separately. Ms. Mayfield.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and I see Mr. Cagle is here, so thank you very much. This was a specific question. We had a $30 million contract. We had a DBE goal on it. We have a number of potential partners, and I wanted to get a little bit more clarification on the 10.13% negotiated goal. So I wanted to give an opportunity for our director of the airport to let us know how this process went.
Yes, ma'am. This is a federally funded project, so it falls under the FAA's DBE program guidelines. The Aviation Department received put out a request for qualifications, chose Talbot Bright and Ellington, and then worked with Talbot Bright and Ellington to maximize the amount of participation. Now, this one is an interesting one because the scope of work is very technical in nature, involves on-airfield and off-airfield work. Talbot Bright and Ellington were able to work with or identify 8 different subcontractors, all in unique and specialized fields, to maximize and reach that 10.13% goal on the project.
So for clarification, what you were able to negotiate created more opportunities by breaking it down a little more to specialized DBEs opposed to maybe 3 or 4 DBEs getting the bulk of the work?
Yes, that is correct.
Thank you.
All right. So may I have a motion to approve? Second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The next item on our agenda is item number 11, a public hearing on a resolution to close an unopened alleyway off of Spencer Street. We want to open the public hearing now. Do we have any speakers?
No, ma'am.
Move to close. Second.
We have a motion to close the public hearing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Do we have a motion to adopt the resolution to close the unopened alleyway off of Spencer Street?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. The next item is from our city manager, or city manager's report.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I have a few items tonight, and the first one is for our city clerk, Stephanie Kelly, so hopefully she's very surprised right now.
She's looking at you as if she is.
Surprise
Miss
is the word I
Kelly,
would
would you
use.
please come on over this way?
So why don't you come over this
Over
way,
here.
Stephanie? So, Stephanie, you don't know this, but your team admires you so much, and next Monday is actually your 10th year with the city, and so we have something special for you.
Okay. Come on over. You come on.
to the
Come
middle.
on. What does it say?
Mr. Manager, you didn't read it, so
Well, I have some more notes here, okay? So, Stephanie, it's kind of interesting because much like me, all that Stephanie knows is public service. She's had her entire career in public service, in local government for 34 years, and she joined the city as a deputy city clerk in 2004. I think you may recall, maybe this time last year, we talked about her becoming the president. So, not of the United States, but the president for the International Institute of Municipal Clerks. And I would tell you, I had the great joy of seeing her sworn in last May, and they love her. So it's great to have you here. We know that you would be traveling all over the world this year, and your deputy has done an amazing job, and she is actually the mastermind behind this. So again, Stephanie, thank you for all you do.
Thank you very much.
So, Mayor, members of council, I know we have a meeting next Monday, but there are a few events between now and next Monday that I'd like to bring to your attention. One is that on the 29th of November, the Charlotte Fire Department will have its Citizens Academy graduation. On the 30th, CMPD will have its 180th recruit class graduation ceremony. And as the mayor mentioned earlier, while CL 250 is a year-long celebration, there's some cake next Monday. And it's interesting. I want to make sure, and I would like to echo what the mayor said, it's not just about eating cake and having a party. It's community-driven, and there's so many stories that we're learning about our great city. And this one day, the day that it is the anniversary of the city, we think it's okay to have a little bit of cake. So between 11:30 and I believe it's 1:30 at Trade and Tryon, where it all started, there's a community celebration. So that will be on the 3rd. So, Mayor, members of council, there is my memo that you have at your seats. And it's kind of interesting if you start to look at next Monday, the strategy session, there is a tremendous amount of work that's coming out of the committees. And so as you start to see, the list gets longer and longer. And Mayor, there may be a little bit of a challenge to stay in between the 5 to 8 time frame, but it's all good work that's coming out. And so while we have some items that have been pulled out of the committee reports are much bigger than just these items. But transit-oriented development, the 4-year terms, the housing locational policy, the legislative agenda, as Dana mentioned earlier, as well as discussion on the Strategic Energy Action Plan, will all be a part of the December the 3rd. And then on the 10th, the efficiency in government, the contract threshold, and Mayor and members of council, there may be some items that come out of the 3rd that could even be ready for the 10th. So a lot of good things are happening in the committee. So we have 2 policy items tonight that follow the manager's report. One is the target rehab program that's coming out of the HAND committee. And then item 14, the neighborhood traffic calming policy, which is coming out of TAP. And I think Tiffany Waddell is making her way to the podium because there's one 2-minute video that she would like to share that relates to something that was brought to our attention from Councilmember Phipps about all of the hardworking individuals in the city of Charlotte.
Yes. Good evening, Mayor, members of council. My name is Tiffany Waddell Blackwell. Now, I think that's the first time I've said that out loud. I'm excited to share with you that the City of Charlotte has been selected as one of the hardest working cities by Freightliner Trucks. I'd like to thank Councilmember Phipps for bringing this to our attention and accepting this award on our behalf. We have a brief 2-minute video that showcases what the award is about for you to review. So thank you.
The Great Recession marked the biggest economic downturn in the last 60 years. For many cities, much of the work that needed to be done was at a standstill. It wasn't until recent years that things started to pick up. Cities all across the land were working hard to get back to pre-recession form. But some cities were moving along faster than others, excelling in employment, gross domestic product, infrastructure investment, and other leading indicators. These hardest working cities deserved recognition. And it was obvious they were way too busy to toot their own horn. So Freightliner Trucks decided to do it for them by creating the Hardest Working Cities Award, given to the cities that are the leading exporters of elbow grease. We hit the road to congratulate each city. Local Freightliner dealers helped us throw awards events and give the workforce some much-deserved VIP treatment. It was there the award was presented.
Congratulations on being the hardest working city in North America.
City representatives and mayors showed up and gave speeches about what the honor meant for the cities and their proud workforces. Our events created buzz in the media.
Salt Lake City was recognized as a hard-working city today.
And all over social media. In the end, it was all about honoring these cities and their workforces. But we couldn't celebrate too long. Staying true to their newly awarded title, they quickly had to get back to work.
Mr. Phipps brought the award by, and if you want to lift weights and stuff up, you just carry it around a little bit. Thank you, Mr. Phipps, for your diligence and understanding that we ought to praise the people that help the city be what it is. And Freightliner, thank you very much for recognizing Charlotte. So the next item on our agenda, are we ready for that, Mr. Jones?
Yes.
The next item is our Targeted Housing Rehabilitation Program to approve the HAND Committee's recommendation to convert the Targeted Housing Rehabilitation Pilot Program into a permanent resource for this community. I want to recognize Councilmember Mayfield, Chair of the committee.
Thank you so very much, Mayor. I also want to acknowledge my committee members, my co-chair, Councilmember Ed Driggs, as well as my colleagues, Councilmember Newton, Eggleston, and Dr. Harlow. Thank you for all the work that we have tackled this year. As you mentioned, we are coming before you to ask you to approve converting our current targeted housing rehab program into a permanent housing program. Since its inception as a pilot program in 2016, the program has been reviewed by the Housing and Neighborhood Development Committee several times. And I'm going to do a little chair privilege because I definitely want to add an additional thank you to Councilmember Driggs, because we were chair and co-chair last term when I had the idea of stepping out and doing something different. And I appreciated the fact that, as crazy as it sounded at the time, you supported me on it, and thank you for committee for us keeping it moving forward. This program provides moderate home rehabilitation for low-income households and has proven to be an effective neighborhood revitalization tool that enables owners and renters to remain in their homes, improves their personal quality of life, and by concentrating rehabilitation in small areas, improves the quality of life in the overall neighborhood. Through deed restriction, the program also helps preserve the existing affordable housing stock and aligns with the Housing Charlotte framework and allows some residents to age in place. And do you want my motion?
I would like to have a motion.
I would like to make a motion for us to approve the recommendation by Housing and Neighborhood Development Committee as presented to council.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Mr. Eggleston?
I made this comment in our last committee meeting, and I'll make it again. My only problem with this program is that we aren't doing more with it. I hope that we will continue to grow this. It's a phenomenal idea. It has been very successful, and there are so many neighborhoods in this community that could benefit from this program that I hope over time we expand it beyond just 2 neighborhoods at a time. And to be selfish, in District 1, there are neighborhoods like Howie Acres that I know would really benefit from something like this to help slow some of the displacement that we know is occurring throughout our city. So I just wish we could do more, but I am very glad we're going to make this a permanent program, not a temporary one.
Mr. Driggs?
Very briefly, I want to say part of the appeal of this program is that it improves the productivity and the efficiency of our use of federal money. So this is not actually Charlotte money. This is money we get from the federal government. We have just found a way to be much more targeted in terms of how we invested in rehab. I think it's a good program.
Any other comments? Mr. Newton, did you want to be recognized?
Sure, yeah. So from a comprehensive, I mean, if you ask, Madam Mayor, from a comprehensive standpoint, I think this absolutely makes a whole lot of sense, right? We talked about this extensively in committee. it's much more cost-effective, economical for us, and we're losing a lot of naturally occurring affordable housing on a daily basis. We talk a lot about new development. Oftentimes we overlook what we're losing, and that just further expands this gap that we need to fill. And so in this context, we're talking about preserving affordable housing in our much more comprehensive plan. So once again, I think that this makes a whole lot of sense. We're tackling the issue from a different angle here. Right, and we're putting in place a permanent program, which was a successful pilot to begin with. And to Councilmember Eggleston's point, I think it's also worth noting that Councilmember Mayfield was talking about rental units. From a standpoint of expansion, like Councilmember Eggleston was talking about, maybe we can start talking about expanding into the rental unit market for the sake of some of the apartment complexes that we know are in need, like Lake Harbor.
Hey, Ms. Mayfield?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. And just to give an update and to give a snapshot of a direct impact, when we implemented this program and we identified both historic Camp Green and Lincoln Heights, that was still before we saw the boom we've seen within the last year and a half. So as an example, one of our residents who applied and qualified for the program had this beautiful brick home, and the lot next to her, the home directly, immediately next door, the home was sold, and the home that was built in place next to her in about 45, 48 days sold for $447,000. So by us being proactive and stepping out and doing something a little different than what we had done previously, before we saw the increase of housing costs, material costs, and all the development and seeing continued decline in the neighborhood, we were able to get in, make a really smart investment through our partners. So I also want to make sure I take the time to thank our partners. One of our biggest partners really has been Rebuilding Together through Spectral. They have been a major partner, as well as Habitat for Humanity, as well as Goodwill Rehab. We have had some tremendous partners, and I have to thank our Neighborhood and Business Services team, because without our team out there on the ground doing the day-to-day, we went out 5 times door to door to talk to residents in order to let them know that this program was available and that government is serious. We want to come in and help. So we have made a direct impact. Yes, I would love for us to do more, but the fact that you all supporting us moving this to a full program outside of a pilot is going to add 2 additional neighborhoods. We're not leaving Camp Green and Lincoln Heights. We're not just pulling out and going in. We're going to continue in the 2 neighborhoods, and we're adding an additional 2, and we're going to look at some much more creative ways to impact neighborhoods right now with those that are both long-term renters and homeowners. So thank you for that, Mayor.
Thank you. So no further discussion. All in favor of the recommendation from the HAND Committee on Targeted Rehabilitation, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Congratulations for the great work to, we talk a lot about policy and big money and trying to get bonds and things like that, but sometimes some of the smallest things make the biggest difference in someone's life. The next item, we have another really good committee report coming out, the Neighborhood Traffic Calming Policy, approving the Transportation Planning Committee's recommendation to accept the proposed traffic calming policy updates. I want to recognize Mr. Phipps.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council, and I'd like to definitely thank the Charlotte Transportation Department and Ms. Liz Babson and her staff and team, Ms. Tamara Blue and Kathy Dennis on the hard work in getting these adjustments made, comparisons to our policy that hadn't been looked at. I guess it was first adopted in 1997, last updated in 2006, but they really brought a good set of proposals to us, and we're here to vote on them here tonight. And I especially like to thank the committee, my Vice Chair, Julie Isett, and Dimple Asmara, Braxton Winston, and Mr. Eggleston, that worked to push this out of committee in record time. And really it gives the community and neighborhoods better flexibility in terms of taking action to make their communities safe with the reduction in speed limits and not reducing some of the barriers to trying to get some of those traffic calming initiatives in their neighborhoods. Just for an example, several things that we are revising our policies in concert with other leading cities across the country. When it comes to traffic calming, neighborhood traffic calming procedures and guidelines with respect to speed humps, we're reducing the threshold to 600 vehicles per day from 1,000, which reduce some of the burden there. As far as multi-way stops, we're going to combine the volume on main and intersecting streets to meet the 600 vehicles per day and reduce the petition-required impact area to 1,200 linear feet from the intersection. And also we have a provision in there for speed humps plus multi-way stops. We're going to only require 15 vehicles per day and a postcard in lieu of second petition if one have occurred within 5 years of the first installation. Also, original signatures of only one parcel owner, so we don't have to go chasing, coming back when the husband is only there or the wife is only there. You can just get one signature per household to help to move that petition process along, and and that's going to be done in lieu of a 60% signed petition. And also, Housing and Neighborhood Services has agreed to assist distressed neighborhoods with the petition process if it's needed, and through her authority, I guess authorized through, Charlotte Ordinance, Ms. Babson, who is the director of CDOT, has the capacity to reduce speed limits in various neighborhoods with the stroke of a pen, but it has to come through a formal request. I thought we could just, proactively do it, but I guess we would like to give the neighborhood an opportunity to request it before we take that kind of action. So with these provisions, I think we've made some good progress. I mean, we've updated our policies and we streamlined them in a way that would, I think, that the community would appreciate in terms of more efficiency. And I'm going to support it, and I make a motion here tonight that would to have everybody to approve this policy, and hopefully I can get a quick second. And we can
Second.
Thank you.
You got a quick second. So, all right, is there any discussion? Mr. Driggs and then Mr. Eggleston.
I think this is a good idea. I get a lot of requests in my district, too, for calming on roads that people travel at very high speeds, partly because the police are spread pretty thin down in Palatine, and people don't expect to get caught, frankly. The only question I have is the reason we have these restraints on traffic calming is because of congestion, right? So, and we have big congestion problems as well. So did we analyze the extent to which some of our congestion issues might be exacerbated by putting in more stop signs?
Well, I think what it is, when you talk about congestion, we're talking about neighborhood streets, like not your collectors or major thoroughfare streets.
Right.
These are only like in your particular neighborhood, going from one little street to the next. Those kinds of initiatives are we talking about, not the major thoroughfares and things that you would find the most congestion.
Usually traffic jams on those roads.
Yes.
Right.
So
All right. Thank you.
Mr. Eggleston?
We have one example here, my friend Gary Marion, who, when folks like Gary come and tell us simple things we can do, that they're in agreement as a neighborhood, will drastically improve their quality of life. We need to be in the business of making it easier for those neighbors and neighborhoods, not harder. And I think this policy is a phenomenal way of doing that and allowing them to determine the path that their neighborhood moves forward and continues to improve. So enthusiastically supporting this tonight.
Mr. Newton.
Yeah, I just want to thank all the hard work of everyone involved here. This is something that started back during the budget process. So all of us on council approved the funding for this program. I want to thank all the committee members, Liz Babson, Kathy Dennis, who's actually with us tonight, other members of CDOT. One of the more prominent responsibilities that we as district reps have is to field constituent concerns. And I can tell you the number one constituent concern I get are public safety issues, pedestrian public safety issues in the neighborhoods in my district. And oftentimes it's very difficult for neighborhoods to be able to afford the traffic calming measures they need, even after, right, going through the process of getting neighborhood matching grants. And that's assuming there is a homeowners association or a neighborhood association. This goes a long way. So bringing back or scaling down the criteria, providing more opportunity for full funding of traffic calming measures goes a long way to addressing a lot of the concerns I know that constituents in my district have, just as much so as across the entire city. So I'm in full-fledged support of this, and I'm so happy it's coming before us. And thank you all, everybody, for your hard work on this.
With that, any further comment or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much for the hard work and the update on that policy. The next item that we have is sale of city-owned property on, I'm never quite sure if this is Piaf Avenue and Shady Oak Court. Adopt a resolution approving the sale of 3.3 acres of city-owned property on this avenue and authorize the manager to negotiate and approve all documents necessary for the sale. Do I have a motion?
To adopt and approve.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. The next item is a business item, adopt a resolution approving a 5-year lease agreement renewal with No Grease Barbershop for space at the Spectrum Center.
Move for approval.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, please.
I have one thing to say.
Yes, please.
Not just, I'm for the renewal of the lease, but I just want to call to attention, since we are the landlords, that there's other ground floor retail space in that building that just never seems to stay occupied. And as we try to transition to a more ground floor activated city, I think we need to really pay some attention to this to see how we can get those other spaces, because No Grease has been there for 10 years. They're a viable business, and they're showing that that's a good place to do business. So we need to come up as a city a solution for the rest of those retail spaces that are part of that building.
Thank you for the comment. I'm sorry, now, someone's pointing that direction, no?
I just
Mr. Eggleston?
had a follow-up question to Mr. Winston's very valid point. We have a lot of retail spaces between parking decks that we own and manage, as well as the arena. Do we have somebody on our staff who actively is out promoting what's available in like a real estate capacity to attract those tenants? Because there is a lot of vacancy.
And I think, so sorry, I'm not going to answer your question, but to add to your point, that space in the Spectrum Center, it has been occupied on several different occasions. It just doesn't remain occupied. So we need to figure out why that's not
We'll get a report from the manager. I think we'll get a report on, I think we just did a report, because I think the question is broader than the vacancies just at Spectrum. It's about the ones that we have out of the parking garages along the light rail line, a number of those facilities. So we can take a look at those and get a report back.
A little Stairmaster action there.
Now, Mr. Phipps?
Yeah, you hit on a point, because I'm curious as to what's going on with the 2 parking decks, ground floor. We opened the light rail extension back in March. It's still dark on those floors, so.
I remember we approved a contract with a real estate firm to market those areas.
Right.
I think the question is more around, you can get someone to market, but what are you marketing for?
Right.
And I think that's why I asked the manager not to try to get it all done in one explanation, but to get a purposeful about why we're doing that and what's being done.
Right.
So, okay. Did we vote on that in a second?
You got a motion
All right,
and
we
a
have a
second.
motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you for that. The next one is the item 17, naming agreement for Bojangles Coliseum and the surrounding complex to approve the naming rights and license agreement with the CRVA and Bojangles Restaurants for Bojangles Coliseum and the surrounding complex.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Mr. Driggs.
I just have one question about this. It looks like a good deal, but we have a responsibility to make sure that we maximize opportunities for the city. So I'm wondering how these particular terms were arrived at, and whether it was a competitive bid process, or why is this exactly the right transaction?
All right, Is
Mr. Murray?
Mr. Murray is here, and I'd also like to recognize the members of his board, Dr. Clark, Tarun Malik, Tracy Montross, Mike Evans, Ken Edmonds, and Bill Deloach. Thank you for coming down on this issue. All right, Mr. Murray, the question is, how did you start? How did you come to this conclusion?
Great. If you wouldn't mind, I wouldn't mind recommending or recognize as well two of our folks from Bojangles company. Ken Reynolds and Cliff Cermak are here, and we thank them for their investment in our community and certainly the headquarters that we benefit from in our community as well. So thank you for being here up there.
Thank you.
This team has been working on this project for a while. We started by contracting one of the more respected third-party valuation companies in the area. The name is Team Services. They used a bunch of different methodologies. They used something called comparables, where they looked at up to 40 other facilities that have naming rights and have similar kinds of attributes. And then they looked at something that they call they call it that because I can't remember what to call it. Impressions, I should have known that. So how many impressions of the signage and those things have, and then also additional assets. For instance, for us, one of the additional assets that was looked at was the connector facility that you approved earlier. And so that analysis was done. They gave us a range that they thought that the naming rights should market towards, and we're pleased that we were able to come to an agreement at the top end of that range and know that we're in a very competitive landscape and pricing range and with our results here. And once again, we really thank Bojangles. I thank my team for all the hard work they did on that as well.
Follow up.
Having checked that box, I'd like also to thank Bojangles for their continued commitment to Charlotte. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Bakari and Mr. Phipps.
Yeah, again, I'd also like to thank Bojangles for their commitment, and just curious, at a high level, given the Bojangles acquisition news, was that part of any kind of discussion? Because I know that's not going to close until Q1. Was there any concern or any discussion as it related to the inking of this deal now and any of the implications of that?
No, I think what we got as assurance is that the headquarters would remain in Charlotte, and we were comforted by that.
Okay.
Mr. Phipps?
Mr. Bakari asked my question about
Okay.
that.
Thank you. Dr. Harlow.
Just real briefly, great job, CRVA, Tom. I think this, when you look at, the old cost of the naming rights to what the market is dictating now, and your team's work on securing this, I think it really speaks to the work that you guys are doing on really helping brand Charlotte, bringing events here, and the work you're doing around the Coliseum and the auditorium. So just kudos to you guys for because this is it's a significant increase actually, but so it just speaks to the value and the worth of what we're doing and what you guys are doing.
Thank you, and I would also like to thank you all for the investments that you've put in those two facilities that have helped us to attract the tenants and the amount of activity that we've put in there. And so it really was a team effort, and so thank you all for your support on those two facilities.
Okay. All in favor of the, I'm sorry, Mr. Eggleston?
I just wanted to thank Bojangles for their delicious fresh-baked biscuits.
I think you mean Bowberry biscuits.
Have some cake next week.
I'm not sure if I should go around and just tell me what is your favorite menu item or not.
The spicy
I
Cajun
think I
food.
hear someone saying Bowberry biscuits.
Bow
and
rounds.
I'm
Bow rounds.
what
Bow
about
rounds.
Honey mustard.
smokes on the biscuit? But I need, Miss Mayfield has asked me to recognize
Yeah, I
her.
have a specific question.
Bow rounds? Back to the business.
But do
And
you
it was
take
a
your fries with
clarification.
seasoning
Yeah,
or
no,
not? Okay.
So, just for clarification for me, what the request is to approve a naming rights and license agreement with the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority and Bojangles Restaurant. And I think, I'm not sure if the question that you were asking, since you didn't specifically say, since there's a merger with Nuco. There's.
No.
No.
Yeah, the
So
other-
what I'm asking is if it's the Charlotte Regional Visitors, let me backtrack. My question is, this is to approve a naming rights and license agreement with the CRVA and Bojangles. So we're congratulating and thanking Bojangles, but the contract is actually with CRVA and Bojangles, so it's a joint contract that'll be running.
Tri-party, probably.
It's a joint contract that'll be, I didn't get the last part.
That's why I'm trying to
Oh, so
make sure that I
maybe I could just
understand.
add a clarification. It's actually city, CRVA, and Bojangles, the three parties in that agreement. And the last part of your question was, what are we doing?
Okay, so because what we're stating is in here is we're having this conversation because the current agreement is about to expire, but there is an opportunity as long as either the city and or the organization, the business, submits a notification with advance notice or whatever contractually is agreed upon, this contract can be canceled.
There are some termination rights, but termination without cause carries significant penalties.
Thank you.
Okay, so all in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, none opposed. The next item is Agenda Item 18. It is the Construction Manager at Risk Services for the Charlotte Convention Center Phase 1. We've had a couple of presentations on this about, what's being expanded, the square footage, the type of design, the updating, the wireless service, all of those things in this. But this item has 5 items in it. Approve a construction manager at risk contract in the amount not to exceed $9,800 with Holder Edison Ford Leaper Company for construction of the Phase 1. Approval contract in the amount of $2 million with TVS North Carolina for architectural services during bidding, construction, and closeout phases. Adopt a budget ordinance appropriating $110 million from the Convention Center tax fund for Convention Center Phase 1 renovation, and those tax funds are generated primarily by our hospitality taxes. Adopts a budget ordinance to amend fiscal year 2019 budget, a transfer of $2.5 million from the Convention Center tax fund for the Convention Center, and we talked about that was for the replacement of the HVAC system. And then the last item is adopt a budget ordinance appropriating an additional $2.5 million from the Convention Center tax fund balance to the Convention Center Phase 1 renovation.
Move to approve.
Do I have a motion to
Second.
approve A through E?
Motion approved.
Second.
All right, you have a motion and a second to approve A through E. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you for that. And thank you again to our board and for the work that the staff and the Bojangles folks that are going out to bake fresh biscuits right now.
Mayor, if I can, we got 2 GCs here, Mr. Leeper, and I see Edison Ford and Holder. So congratulations, team. Looking forward to your work.
All right, thank you. All right, the next item is item 19, approve a contract in the amount of $285,000 to the lowest responsive bidder, Carolina Conduit Systems, for the Spectrum Center fiber optic cable duct bank project, and adopt a budget ordinance appropriating the same amount of tourism fund balance for the project. Do I have a motion to support A and B? And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The next item on our agenda, if I can thumb through this fast enough, is for approve a developer agreements with Old Concord Apartments at the Blue Line, LLC, C-Store Holdings, Hazel South Park Apartments, and Rail Yard, LLC, for traffic signal installation and improvements, and adopt a budget ordinance appropriating $168,835 in private developer funds for those signal installations and
approve A and
improvements.
B.
We have a motion for A and B. All in, a second? We have a second and a motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're now to that point that we have the nominations by the council to various council committees that serve our citizens, and we are now doing nominations. So the clerk's going to read out those nominations, and if anyone has 6, the council could make a motion to approve that appointment tonight. Ms. Kuntz, would you start with the Bicycle Advisory Committee?
Sure. That was for 3 appointments. Robert Boyer received 10 nominations. David Adam
Raskowski received 9 nominations, and then we will have to bring back the final appointment at the next meeting. The Business Advisory Committee, for the category of Certified Small Business Enterprise, recommended by the Hispanic Contractors Association, Domenico Santilli received 11 nominations. For the Charlotte Business Inclusion Advisory Committee in the...
So, wait a minute.
I'm sorry.
On the bicycle, you had someone that received 11?
No. 10 and 9.
Sorry, 10. All right, can you say that again? For the bicycle, you had Robert Boyer?
Robert Boyer received 10 nominations.
Uh-huh.
David Adam Raskowski received 9 nominations.
Do I have a motion to reappoint Robert Boyer and David?
So moved.
Second. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, who's here? Oh, hi. Okay.
Congrats. Thank you, Adam.
Sorry.
For your service.
Thank you very much. And then we have the third place.
The third one,
Have
we
to
will
be a
bring
vote.
back to you at December 10th meeting.
I'm going to keep up with you, Emily, I promise you. So now we're on the business advisory.
Yes, ma'am, in the category of Certified Small Business Enterprise, recommended by the Hispanic Contractors Association, Domenico Santilli received 11 nominations.
Move
All
to
right.
appoint.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. The next one is Business Inclusion Advisory Committee, 1 appointment.
Yes, it's in the category recommended by the Latin American Chamber of Commerce. Johanna Suarez received 9 nominations.
Move to appoint.
All right, move appointment. Second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, nominations to the Charlotte Housing Authority.
Lucy Brown received 11 nominations, Shirley Fulton received 11 nominations, and Ray McKinnon received 10 nominations.
Move to
Okay.
appoint.
Do we have a move for
Second.
approval? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And we want to recognize that Mr. McKinney is in our audience tonight. The next one is the Public Access Court.
No one received at least 6 nominations, so we'll bring back that one
Thank
December
you.
10th.
Tree Advisory Committee.
We'll have to bring that one back as well.
Civil Service Board.
Kyle Clements received 6 nominations.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Ty.
Kyle Clements.
Kyle.
Clements.
Okay. Got 6 nominations. And I had a motion. Who made the motion?
Dimple made the motion, I seconded
All right, and a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I didn't hear, I mean, if anyone opposed. Okay. I just didn't hear the normal, most voices raised. Historic District Commission?
Yes, the Kim Parati received 10 votes for reinstatement.
Move to appoint.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Housing Appeals Board.
Gregory Pizarro received 11 nominations.
Move
to appoint.
Second.
Second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the other group will come back. I want to recognize Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I would like to ask for a referral to the Budget and Government Efficiency Committee, that we once again revisit the way we look at these committees. We had a lot of discussion, or I did at least, on some of these committees. I asked my colleagues if we were really, how connected we are with some of these committees. And we've talked in the past that some of the committees that we should probably be more engaged with, we should be more understanding of what they're doing, who it is that's applying. And we take this particular week where we had 10 different committees and we had 278 nominations that were given to us right before the holiday weekend, and it's awfully tough to go through all of that. If we had a better connection with these committees, with our various boards, whether it be the Housing Authority has more communication with the HAND Committee, the Civil Service Board, or the Citizens Review Board with the Public Safety Committee, I think we'd be in a better position to know when these positions come up, who's applying, have the opportunity to talk to committee members, understand how other committees are working or not working. look at who's applying. You know, some of these applications have been in for a long time, but when we get them, it's a couple days, really less than a week before we actually have to vote on them. So I would like to ask the mayor or ask the council for a referral to the committee to look at a better process for this, for appointing people to our boards and commissions and deciding which ones are still relevant.
I saw Mr. Driggs and Mr. Phipps. Mr. Driggs, Mr.
Actually,
Phipps, and
I
Mr.
think
Winston.
Mr. Winston was waving his hand early.
Just go.
All right. I want to.
Come around. Nobody will be neglected.
I would like to support that suggestion. I've talked in the past about this process. I think we all know what happens on the day often. And in particular, I think there are a couple of committees that we need to recognize are strategically sensitive. And the idea that the appointments are made in this environment and with the limited information that we're able to take in. So even though I recognize that it has been there before, I would like to see the Budget Effectiveness Committee consider this and dig a little deeper and see if we can find a better way. So I support that suggestion.
All right, Mr. Phipps.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. I guess I really don't have, it doesn't look like I have any choice of being the repository for yet another review of these committees, but it seems to me that
What an honor you have. How well respected you are by your colleagues.
That's right. But I thought that our process at the last review was both very detailed and exhaustive. So I would encourage my colleagues to go back and look at some of those minutes and just to refresh themselves of the kind of work that was done. So I don't know, what will come of this. I mean, I know the frustration of trying to, put a name with a face and all of these things, but I mean, we discussed all of that. I mean, we went through all of that. So go through it again, and with such short time period, I don't know, what's the veracity of it, but I'm willing to let it, I have no choice, it looks like, for it to come back again for yet another review, so.
I mean, for instance, I'd like to know if every one of those boards and commissions are relevant right now.
Well,
All right, wait, I have Mr. Winston, and then the city manager would actually like to have a comment. Would you like to comment now?
Yes, thank you, Mayor, members of council. So this was actually referred to me at the last strategy session, and I have a memo for you. They've completed an assessment. We've worked with the clerk, and I could get this to you right now. And if you still want to refer it to committee, that's fine. But we have done an assessment with some ideas and concepts that we believe would help greatly.
I would like to just suggest, and this is up to the council, next Monday's coming pretty quickly. We have a strategy session. Let the manager get us the memo, read it, and nothing's going to change between now. We've got another 3 months before the next appointment process kicks off. What if we get the memo out tomorrow so that everybody can have it and read it, and then on Monday the 3rd, add this to the agenda, again, a referral, and make sure that we have everybody's idea of what might be included. So I would suggest, if the Mayor Pro Tem doesn't mind, once again, being the place where people can funnel their ideas, because I agree that there are a lot of things that maybe the real question is, why do we have so many committees and what do they do? And not just the nomination process. I mean, maybe if we had it down to really understanding each committee's function and role, and they just weren't committees that have been here a while, we might actually get better thinking around it. But that's a whole other issue.
No, that's fine.
So I think, what if we get the memo out tomorrow, and then on the 3rd, we put it on the agenda for a referral and talk, you can write up what people say and make sure it's covered. And could you also, over the time, include in the packet the prior discussion? Because I don't think that prior discussion attempted to say, is the committee have purpose now, or what purpose, how do their purpose connect with our focus and our vision? So I think that might be something that's new. Maybe we look at it differently. Okay, is everybody all right with that? Mr. Winston?
Well, honestly, I was about to
suggest, I hear you, Mr. Driggs, and I hear Ms. Isold. You know, I agree, you know, it doesn't work, and, I'm sorry, did I say Driggs again?
They're interchangeable at this point.
At least once a meeting, we have to admit that.
I agree with Mr.
Must be the
Driggs, too.
glasses or
He said
something.
he-
We look alike, yeah.
But I was going to suggest that we skip the committee. This is a full council kind of discussion that needs to be had. I was going to suggest that the manager come up with some recommendations and we deal with this.
Has to do that on Monday.
So that's
We
what we're
can add
doing.
it to the agenda
Yeah.
Monday.
We're ahead of
Okay?
you, ma'am.
We're good? All right. So now we're at mayor and council topics. Ms. Isold, would you like to start?
Well, that was my topic, so.
Okay. Mr. Winston?
So there are a couple things that are happening down by our southwestern border right now that affect our community quite deeply. A couple of weeks ago, a friend of mine, Patrick Braxton Andrews, on a trip to Mexico, left his hotel room, the adventurer that he is, or just really explorer, and he never came home. They say bad things happen to good people, and in this case, the worst thing happened to a very good person. You know, the last time I saw him was about a year ago. It was either right during the election or right after, and you know, we hadn't seen each other for a while, and I ended up in VBGB, and we just had a beer, and we just were drinking and talking. You know, him telling me about his travels and teaching Spanish at this school, and you know, it's shocking. It's something that we're a small community at Davidson, but we run deep, and you know, I just want to give continue condolences to his family, his friends, his school community. It could happen anywhere, but we know that he was in an area that does have some conflict, and it brings me back to present day. Right now, I know that he would be appalled to see children barefoot and barebacked almost, crying from tear gas. You know, I've tasted tear gas in these streets, and it propelled me to change my life, and it changed the lives of so many people around me. Unfortunately, this is who we are. And we're at times where people say over and over again, that this is not who we are, but I've seen it, I've felt it. I don't know, it's up to us to take the steps to be who we want to be. I encourage us, as I said earlier today, to advocate when we go to Washington, D.C., or we go to Raleigh, to stop the mess that we have that we call our immigration system. Now is the time to find a political will to take the stand and use whatever platform and pulpit that we have. And we can do that, and we should not wait till we think it is more politically, digestible for certain people to be elected. This is something that affects us. These are people that would be coming to our state and our city looking for work. Don't trust me, but trust the numbers. We're one of the top 5 growing cities, growing states, from populations from Central America that are looking for opportunities. And our state and our city benefits from those people that are looking for a better place to be, and they don't deserve what we're giving them at our border.
Mr. Driggs?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a brief announcement. The police station that District 7 has been waiting for years is on its way, and a rezoning petition will be considered in the next couple of months by City Council. There is a community meeting on November 27th, it says. That's interesting. That's tomorrow. That's correct. Tomorrow. From 5:30 to 7. It's a drop-in meeting where people can see plans for the police station, and offer any comments they want to. This is the first of several meetings. Unfortunately, because of our session involving the merger of the regional partnership and the chamber, I won't be able to attend this meeting in my district tomorrow night, but I will be at future meetings, and there will also be some conversation about excess property that's being acquired at the site and its possible uses in conjunction with the city's housing policies. So I look forward to an ongoing community conversation in District 7, but meanwhile I recommend that tomorrow you attend from 5:30 to 7, drop in at the Ballantine Hotel, the Carolina Room, and learn about the police station. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Harlow?
Thank you, Mayor. Just two items for me. Hope everyone had a happy Thanksgiving. A lot for many of us to be thankful for. Tomorrow is the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving, which is informally known as Giving Tuesday. A lot of philanthropic and nonprofit groups out there that need support if you're willing and able. I want to encourage you to pick a cause and donate if you can. These groups, there are many groups out here that just need funds to capacity build, so encouraging folks to give tomorrow on Giving Tuesday. Also, if you're willing to give your voice as part of a conversation at Enderley Coffee at 2620 Tuckasegee Road. This is not District 2, it's in District 3, so I'll give that to Ms. Mayfield, but it straddles the line right on the west side. There's a conversation that'll be happening called just Coffee Conversation and Commitment on December 1st, this Saturday, from 11 to 1. Enderley Coffee and the Westside Community Land Trust, QC Family Trees, asking you to come out, just discuss just openly and freely. It's a safe space to talk about some social issues going on in West Charlotte communities around gentrification, around community building, how we can collectively impact change in our community, specifically on Charlotte's West Side. So come out 11 to 1, Enderley Coffee on Tuckasegee Road this Saturday.
All right, Mr. Eggleston?
The good doctor stole my thunder on Giving Tuesday, so I will yield my time to the distinguished gentleman from the Far East.
Mr. Newton.
So this being for another, 5 days, this being Homeless Awareness Month, I think it's appropriate that I extend some recognition to Raise You Up Ministries, who hold a homeless appreciation or an event to uplift our homeless population twice a month on the second and fourth Saturday between 4:30 and 7 p.m. at 144 Pfeiffer Avenue. I went with my good friend Manolo Betancourt this past Saturday to help feed the homeless, as well as what we specifically did. We were in a medical tent, and we cleaned the feed of a number of homeless folks who entered the tent, and I couldn't think, we brightened their holiday season. There's no doubt about that, and particularly given the weather and the climate that many of our homeless neighbors are going to be facing here over the next couple of months, this is very critical. So if you have the opportunity, a lot of people do volunteer. Donations are needed. You can go to raiseyouupministries.org to make a secure donation. And if you have the opportunity to get down to 144 Pfeiffer Street, 2nd and 4th Saturday, they would be very grateful between the hours of 4:30, 7 o'clock. Be very grateful to see you. Also wanted to extend my deepest condolences and sympathies to the family of my dear friend Alan Burns, who passed away a few weeks ago. He was a consummate climate fighter, someone who traveled around the world to raise awareness regarding climate change, passed away on a climate march in Slovenia a couple of weeks ago. His service is going to be on December the 7th. At the Charlotte Friends Meeting area, 570 Rocky River Road at 6:30 p.m. Come on out for that. We will miss you so much, Alan, your warm, open spirit, and I look forward to that remembrance, and thank you for your friendship over the years.
Mr. Bakari?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. 3 quick things. One, I share and have shared for a long time the passion around really looking at our 30-plus boards and commissions like we just talked about. So look forward to the next week's session and what we learn. But I would encourage us to do something about this finally. It's been decades that, and I've served on 3 of them, that many of these groups have languished and have been in a silo, and let's not rule out throwing the ball to each of them and asking them where they can provide us feedback on how to make our touch points more effective. I don't know that we need to solve this entire thing in a silo away from them. That's the problem right now. So I just wanted to toss that over as one. 2, thanks to my colleagues all who came, but particularly my district mate next to me with Hugh McManaway and the statue, the bronze statue now back in its place on a pedestal that will damage cars more than him the next accident that occurs. Luckily, not luckily, but for the statue's sake. So we're very glad to have it there. Look forward to see all the decorations that will come. And then finally, for my FinTech nerds, we've all known that Charlotte was a #1 relocation magnet in the nation for millennials. We also know that it was rated by CompTIA Charlotte as a #1 tech town in the last couple months. But now, most recently, as these awards keep racking up, we were listed by Forbes in the top 10 for rising cities for startups. So anyone who thinks that fintech and tech is something that only happens in Silicon Valley and places like that, the world is starting to take notice of all the great work out there. End of report.
All right, Mr. Phipps?
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. Earlier this month, on November the 8th to be exact, I was privileged to welcome a delegation from China, from the Sichuan province, that included chairpersons of several successful companies in Chengdu, China. And before we moved up to 280 for a strategic alliance partnership memorandum signing ceremony between the Sichuan Chamber of Commerce and the North American Chinese Chamber of Commerce. They had an opportunity to tour this dais, and each of the members of the Chinese delegation had a chance to sit in each one of these seats here. So before we went up to have that signing ceremony, of which I was one of the signatories on that particular partnership memorandum. And what this is going to do is that anytime, through this partnership alliance, anytime a Chinese delegation will come to the U.S. or even to the Carolinas, that the North American Chamber of Commerce will be the gateway Chamber of Commerce that will guide and help facilitate their trip and things. So thanks to Ms. Jane Wu, who's the president, of the North American Chamber of Commerce. And I've had a lot of meetings in room 280, but it's never the same anymore since we've had that signing ceremony there, and the regalia and the Chinese flag, the U.S. flag, and the pomp and circumstance, the exchanging of gifts and such. It was just a good opportunity. I think you all were away in L.A. during that week.
Mr. Phipps, you always do a great job at that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Mayfield?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. A couple of things. Saturday, here's the great thing about Charlotte. We're growing to the point where we can have multiple events happening simultaneously. We have also, from Surviving to Thriving, Women's Conference, Healing After Domestic Violence, which will be housed at the Delta House. They may still have some seats available. Proceeds go to help the organization and specifically to help those who have been impacted by domestic violence, and that starts at 10 a.m. And we also, I am proud to say, on Saturday evening at the H.L. McCrory YMCA, we will have our internationally known senior drummers and dancers gala and celebration. So I want to give a special shout out to my aunt Barbarette, who is one of the drummers and has been for many years now. She's one of the youngest drummers, so she had to fight to get in with the senior drumming circle. But we are looking forward to celebrating. And the last piece, that I want to share with my colleagues that I'm really excited about. We spoke earlier, and I again thank you all for your support regarding moving the targeted rehab pilot into a full program. But as my colleague, Councilmember Bakari, talked about fintech, we still have conversations happening around housing. So I am happy to say that with conversations through the city manager's office, conversations with my new direct contact, our deputy city manager, Ms. Sabrina Joy Hogg, as well as our director, and as well as Mr. Fulton Meacham of the Charlotte Housing Authority. Thank you for listening. We're having a very different conversation about how we can step in and make a positive impact with some housing now, because our market is quickly changing and product is coming up on the market and it is selling very quickly. We started this conversation about 6 months ago. In that 6 months, at this last Thursday, thank you, Novant Health and Center City Partners for the Thanksgiving Day Parade, Councilmember Newton and I had a quick conversation about a company that has come into our community that is buying up properties and doing very minimal work and honestly flipping those properties. And a lot of these properties have renters currently in them, and those renters are being priced out of the home. Well, this idea of us buying a couple of single-family properties that had current renters on them, the manager and I started talking about more than 6 months ago. So we're finally almost to the place where we may be able to get some language together to bring to committee to have real conversation around, and then hopefully to full council as we look forward and move forward to making some very real recommendations that are not just build new, because that $50 million would go very quickly. So as the committee is preparing for our upcoming meeting, we're going to be having some very creative conversations and see about us getting on the same page of thinking outside the box and not just always looking for best practices everywhere, looking at Charlotte being that leader once again of creating the best practices that other communities are going to utilize. So I just wanted to put that on council's radar so that you know conversations that we've been having and conversations that I've been having and the direction that I'm hoping we can go in to make the positive impact in our community I think we all said that we want.
Ms. Ajmera?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So over holidays last week, federal climate change report was released, and I had an opportunity to review the summary of the report. The report warns us around declining climate change, especially around shrinking U.S. economy, and it encourages us to take some very bold steps around climate change. I think back in June or July of this year, Council took a bold step around approving a sustainable and resilient Charlotte resolution. And since then, our Environment Committee has been working to put together the CEAP, which includes short-term, mid-term, and the long-term plans to address some of our sustainability initiatives and help us get towards no carbon, especially to meet our 2030 goals, which is for our city, and 2050 goals for our community-wide. After reviewing the report that was released, it was really shocking to see that the report clearly lays out that if we don't take immediate actions, there will be thousands that will be killed. Our U.S. economy will be impacted at such a significant number, and I'm looking forward to seeing the CEAP being approved so we can get to work. At the committee level, the CEAP has been approved, and it will be in front of full council towards mid-December. And I think it lays out clear steps as to what we can do at the local level to clearly take a leadership in ensuring that we do our part in sustainable in creating a sustainable city for not just 5 years, 10 years, but for generations to come. And I think there is some urgency behind it, and I would encourage all of you, if you have not had an opportunity to review the report that was released last week by our federal agency, that I encourage you all to read that report. We need to take some actions with clear urgency to save our planet. Thank you. Mr. Mitchell?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'll be very brief. One is announcement. Council, we have the Pearl Park opening, which is scheduled for Wednesday, November 28th. Pearl Parkway is the infrastructure dollars we provided for that project right there near Charlotte Regional Realtor Association. Ribbon cutting is at 10 a.m., and my favorite part, breakfast starts at 9:15 a.m. Secondly, we had some discussion around the dais about board and commission. So I want to thank the Business Advisory Council, headed up by D'Alva Glenn, and the Charlotte Business Inclusion Advisory Council, headed up by Stephanie Burrow. I use these two, board and commission, to help me have a town hall meeting. Thank you, Councilman Bakari, for attending. But because of their leadership and their passion, we had over 200 people to attend the town hall meeting, talking about disparity study in small business. So the only comment I would say to us, if we use our boards and commission effectively, they can help us do the business at hand for our community.
Okay. I want to make a few announcements. First, happy Thanksgiving. Hope everyone had a good one. Before Thanksgiving, I want to congratulate Dale Mullinex, who is retired from the Urban Ministries program. He's done a great job with that, and I was fortunate enough to present him with the Longleaf Pine Award at one of his ceremonies for retirement. I also want to thank the Cameron Woods Women's Association. I had the opportunity to go and help. They've raised a truckload of food for Thanksgiving for Second Harvest Food Bank. And Ms. Mayfield and I attended the Lean In Charlotte program for women, and it was a fabulous way for women to connect and think about how they can contribute to our business community. And starting fresh and leaning in, it's one of the many chapters that are being formed around the nation after Sheryl Sandberg has written her book, but this is now an organizational effort to connect women, and having the opportunity to see all of those women. Bank of America supported the effort, and I know many other businesses will. I also want to say, Mr. Manager, I have to say the gentleman that talked about STS, or Special Transportation Services, I find that to be very real. I have seen the buses go through communities and stopped them and gotten on. I don't know about the new equipment because I haven't seen that as much, but I know that they work extremely hard, and often in ways that I find more related to not just driving someone, but actually almost being a caregiver or someone. You know, we often talked about the opportunity to interact with someone and communicate with someone on a daily basis. Those rides are very important. So I hope that we will take a look at it. I saw the staff report, and that was just a very short blurb. And I believe that we ought to pay people well enough, and so market rate ought to be better. And that report said that they were at almost minimum. And that to me bothers me really. That I know that's a tough job, so I really like for us to move quickly for a pay analysis study for those drivers, as well as look at the equipment. I just really believe as we ought to be the employer that sets that example, and that job is not an easy job. Then the only other thing that I wanted to say is sometimes we have people in our communities that we don't really think about. But this past week, Thelma Clinton Todd passed away, and her services were conducted. And many people probably don't know her, but she lived off of Beatty's Ford on the west side. She was one of those people that her home was always open to people, but more importantly, she had a number of children that are extremely successful. and one of those being a good friend of all of ours, the Honorable T. Michael Todd of Charlotte, who's an attorney here, who has his nieces and nephews working as attorneys in his firm. These are the kinds of families, and what Ms. Todd did was raise a family committed to this community, members of her church at Mount Calvary in Gastonia, but being a member of the church here in Charlotte. Her funny story was that she was employed at Lance Packing Company when she first moved to Charlotte, and she displayed the courage and civil rights advocacy by refusing to use the colored-only restroom when she was there. So sometimes we don't recognize a legacy when we know them, but I want to recognize Ms. Thelma Clinton Todd for her service and devotion to this community. And then the final thing that I'd like to say is the city attorney meeting is tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the airport, and all council members need to be in attendance. It is our first session on, and I'm not going to say replace, but finding another city attorney to serve this council. It is an important meeting. We need to do this as a decision as a council of the whole. I believe that parking is going to be in the valet parking lot. You can park in there. We are going to be in the administration building across the street from the lot there. And this is the beginning of the holiday season, and I know we have a new fire chief. Let's just remember, when we're talking about the holidays, we're often busy, but we need to watch out for things that keep us safe as well. Ladies and gentlemen should be careful shopping in our parking lots, having lighting and being in a group often. When we have our trees in our homes, we need to make sure that we water them, and that we need to lock our doors, turn on those alarms if you have them, because this is a time that you want to be safe and comfortable, and that sometimes takes a little bit more effort on our own individual parts. So this is the beginning of our holiday season, and I'm glad to be in Charlotte as a part of it. And thank you, everyone. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.